M, and we had the retest. It was the first lower high. Basically, put it that way. We had the lower high, and then the retest forming another lower high. I took some profit there, and I actually bought back in just after we just made a higher low on the 1 hour chart. So we have broken the resistance line I had. And hang on, let me just fucking share.
Bro, that's props to you. I literally recognized exactly what you just said and bought because of the higher low.
No shit. I love it.
It's actually sticking. I'm like, oh shit, I'm learning.
That's what it's about, man. That's what it's about. I fucking love it. Give me just a second here, and I will pull.
Wait, you're talking about which coin?
He's talking about people.
Oh,
Peep.
Oh, so you made a re-entry, Rumpty?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I sold a little bit just to capitalize a little bit on the free airdrop we got, and then now I think it has more to go for sure. Like it's interesting because when you look, there's no. I need to look more into it, but there's no team allocation to it, distributed amongst just the distribution of the tokens decent, and all the meme stuff is just it doesn't even make sense. All this liquidity flowing around. So
we gotta keep in mind that this is a 1 hour chart instead of a 4 hour chart. And the reason I'm looking at a 1 hour chart on this instead was just because I knew it was going to be volatile, and I literally wanted to just farm a little bit. I wanted to sell a little bit of what I got for free with intention of buying it back and then having that little bit extra Solana. So my intention on this was to sell some, and anywhere that I could buy lower is profit for me, right? So I sold a little bit here. You can see I set the fib. And once I realized, okay, we bounced right off that fib, I sold a little bit here, and I sold a little bit more right on the retest and right at the 0 line. My take profit points are usually from this fib if I get in on the gold line, which obviously I didn't, but I got in on resistance, right? And I rode that down until we broke resistance here, and we made the higher low. And I actually just purchased about the same price here. So being that we have formed this higher low, now, if this does continue to drop, I'm okay with that because I took something that I had for free, I sold it, I bought back cheaper, and I have a little bit extra Solana in my pocket. But Peep, you fucking look at this on a longer time frame, and it just went ballistic. And to think that it can't settle back down here, maybe even come down lower. It might come down here, but you look where this wick touched to, right? If you look at the bottom of this wick, it's literally right on the top. So resistance was resistance. Then it became support. Are we going to find and hold that support? And we could easily wipe away another 0. I'm not financial advice. Do your own research. This is a shit coin. This is a meme coin, right? Let's be real. But if you hold Cyber Frogs as well as don't quote me, but I believe it was Liberty Square and some other communities. If you held them, then you got some Peepo airdrop to you. And if you got some Peep, like I said, good time to, I sold some just to hold in pure profit, but then I bought back, about 50% cheaper. So just made a little bit of extra sold, not much, just a little something, but That's the way you make gains, is here and there, being smart and piecing away. You can nickel and dime and build your bags, and as you increase. Okay, so here's a way to think about it too. Let's say you're trading with just 10% of your account, right? If you're trading with just 10% of your trading account, once your trading account is increased by 10%, you're now essentially trading with 11% of what your original account was. So you see how as your account slowly grows, your trades can slowly grow, and just continually nickel and dime and increase that account. That's why risk management is so important. Just protect your capital and find yourself on the right side of probability and slowly increase those bags. We're not often advocating or saying, hey, you're going to buy a meme coin, you're going to buy Peepo, and you're going to sell it at 16%, 1,600% profit. Like, this shit happens. This is crypto, but this isn't. It's not the game that we play and we advocate. But for a free coin, let's fucking pump. I hope you guys made some money on that shit. What's up, bro? Welcome to the stream.
It's also interesting, that token, you see that it says on the left, community airdrop meme token with 0 team allocation, which is interesting.
Right.
And the holders have went up a good bit, and then it's still only 10 million fully diluted market cap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Which is just like, what?
We can easily lose another 0 here,
Yeah.
and really see shit start to move.
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. We are not telling you to go buy meme coins, especially because, if you look, this could be resistance right there. Could lift this up. That could be, you see resistance.
It's like you said, Mode. I'm using this to buy more SOL. That's what I'm doing.
Right. I sold some here. I bought it back and I made a little bit of SOL. I sold, I don't remember however many million it was, 40 million, I think. And I bought 40 million back 50% cheaper. Let's fucking go. Nothing crazy, but makes a little bit. That's what counts. Man, my fucking charts look wild as shit when I don't clean them up, huh? And short time frame. Shit's all over the fucking place. But let's go ahead and take a look at SOL, where we're at. Before I do pull up the charts and before I do pull up Thor, does anyone have any questions or comments about frogs or about Thor, Aldo, or Manual, or anything that we want to address before we dive in? And seriously, everybody, like, these streams are for us to talk crypto, hopefully learn something, hopefully we all make some bags. This is not a stream where Mode sits here and talks to you guys like a fucking teacher and you have to sit quietly in the classroom. Like, I don't know everything. I'm not a perfect trader. I do have a way of seeing the charts that I think works well with the way Thor works and seeing how they pair well together. That's why I'm here doing this stream. But this isn't like I know all and listen to me. So there are no stupid fucking questions. This is a place for us to learn. I didn't know what the fuck to do with trading either. It took me quite a while. So, yeah.
Hey, Mode, I got a question once you pull up SOL's chart. It's regarding the EMA.
Okay. What's up?
So, yesterday, and again, I guess I'll just put this out there for those who are new to watching the stream on YouTube, you know, risk management is everything. And
Absolutely.
you know, one thing I really appreciate about the team and mode is that is the one principle that is always exercised. And with that said, I did exactly everything you shouldn't do.
It happens, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I still do something. I'm like,
Hey,
why the fuck
I
did
got
do
greedy,
that?
bro.
Yeah. So what happened? What
Hey.
happened? Oh, did I
And,
lose you? Go ahead. We
oh,
lost.
okay.
You for a
So
second.
yeah,
Go ahead.
so I think it was when I was just playing the scalping game with Soul because of how the ranges were varying so much with the volatility. I was
Right.
like, all right, let me jump in here, right? So let me start off with my question. When the EMA on the RSI, I believe it was, I believe the price action was above the EMA on the RSI.
Well, wait. What do you mean? The EMA
So
and the RSI. The EMA
so
and RSI are two different things.
okay, so on the RSI, the price action, you know,
Okay.
so my bad, the price action was above the EMA on the RSI. But
It
on
can't
the
wait.
all right, so is the RSI the orange line at the bottom? That's not the EMA of the RSI.
No, the EMA
Oh,
is the white line.
yeah, the white and blue line, right?
Yes, the
Short and
RSI.
long.
The RSI is just the relative strength index.
Okay, so then price action was above the RSI. And above the EMA was above the price action. And so isn't that a contradicting
Okay, I think I know
sentiment?
what you're getting at. Let me see if this helps. Let me rewind the chart here. I'm gonna rewind the chart back to where we left off the stream last week. All right, so right here is where we left off the chart last week, somewhere right around here, right? And what we were saying is we are in this price action wedge, this orange wedge. And we said, is this going to continue to be support or is this going to be resistance? And what we always look for, what we said is the RSI is testing neutral and price action is testing the EMA, right? So price is trying to stay above the EMA, but it is starting to print just below it. The RSI is above neutral, but it is starting to get very close to going below, right? So we said we have two scenarios here. If we break our trend and we get the retest, then we get the lower high, then we're looking to come down to our Thor short. However, if we break and we get the retest, we're looking to pump up to the 4-hour short, right? So we want to pay attention to what price is doing along the white line, what the RSI is doing, but my main indicators are my trend line. And I need to see a break and a retest. So I'm going to move forward just a bit. And you see there, we got the break, right? So we got the break. But what happens? And man, look at my line, how fucking perfect. It came down to the low. I'd just like to say that's pretty fucking damn close. But we didn't
Yeah,
get
Mo,
the
you're quite the artist.
Thank you. So we got the break, but you can see we failed the retest, right? We broke back above our trend line and back into our wedge. Now, do we find resistance here? What happens? No, we got the break, and damn, look how close I am right there to that top. Just saying. We got the break, and now we got the retest. See? There's the retest. It came down and retested. See that wick? That wick came down. So now we've broken out. We've got a retest and a rejection, and we're moving up. And right there, we trigger the 4-hour short. So you can see, yes, we did start printing below. The RSI did start going below, but we quickly turned around, held above the white line, broke out, made the retest, and start the RSI to break up above neutral again. But we're at neutral, and now we're entering the 4-hour short call. So I'm guessing this is where you're saying you went short. The RSI is starting to get below neutral. The candles are printing below the EMA. We got the break. I'm guessing that's where you were talking about, right? Well, this is why you protect yourself, because you want the break and the retest. And we didn't get the retest. So that's where your stop loss is obviously important. If you try to enter the break and the retest, you'd have your stop loss probably somewhere here. And then when you see the break and the retest, you could enter long. Or just wait until we hit that 4-hour short.
It was actually I think it was a little further. I had it was when Sol went from like 75. It had peaked at the first 70. Yeah, wait, 77, and then it had dropped down to like 75, and then at 73, I was like, all right, it's gotta go back up. So I just set a full long, and that's when because
we look to be finding support here, right? Because we were finding support here, so you were probably thinking, oh, we found support. But remember, we had broken this, even though this was shorter term, and we started making, we have our high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. So especially had we made the lower high again, that's real indication we're going to see the lower low and test these ranges. But we didn't. Instead, we turned around and we made a new high, and then a higher low and a higher high. Now that we entered this 4-hour short, right? Now it continued to go up, as you see. So it continued to just kind of rip and then turn around and correct pretty quickly, and there filled the 4-hour short. So there's your entry and your exit on your 4-hour short. Now, if we continue to make what? The higher low, so we have a low, high, higher low, higher high. If we hold the higher low, so we had the higher low, but we didn't make the higher high, did we? You see, we had a low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, lower high, which often indicates a lower low, right? So that would give us a potential. If we see where we are right now, we're about on neutral. We're right on the EMA. We're right on the trend line, right? So if we see the break, what are we looking for? The retest, or does it break back up and in? So we got the break, There's the break. Look where that price action retested, right on that line we had as a top before. Look how it retested right there on it perfect, and it's sitting on it, just sucking up money in the same spot again. And we should be, there we are, up to current price action. So
That's not considered a heads and shoulders, is it?
this here, very well may be on the longer term. If you're looking at it, it'd be shoulder, head, shoulder. That will be, yeah, that'd be the head and shoulders. Inverted head and shoulders would be on the bottom like this. So it's the same pattern, just when it's a bottom, not a top. But that could be a potential head and shoulders, yes. And the fact that we did break our trend line that has been established for quite some time. You know, we had this major uptrend, but our first two bottoms, 1, 2, we established this line, right? We turned up from that and we just kept bouncing on it and bouncing on our white line. We got the break, the retest. And just remember, just because we broke this uptrend, you see there's a perfect head and shoulder pattern right there too. See it? We have the shoulder, we have the head, we have the remember, just because we break an uptrend does not mean we are going right into a downtrend. We could go into a sideways accumulation phase. We could go into a slower uptrend. We could go into a downtrend. You know, not sure, but that's why, you know, ultimately you need to protect yourself and manage your risk. But so we knew we broke this just crazy uptrend. And after we did, we kind of moved sideways for a little bit. Then we made the new highs and we're breaking this next uptrend. So at this point, it's kind of, oh, somewhere I got rid of my other green line. So at this point, I would be looking at SOL like that. Where, yes, we failed for a moment. We broke back in. We did make a slightly higher high. And then we made a higher low. But at this point, we failed to make the higher high. And if we don't hold on the RSI here above neutral, keep printing candles above the EMA, and break back up above this red line and look for, you know, basically on a shorter term uptrend, hold something like that. I think we're kind of due for a correction unless we can break out of this here. And that's why it is important to note these. This was the Thor short we had last week. Which this is now invalid, so I should probably put a red line or something. Okay, so that's an invalid call. But it is at a key level that I do want to continue to look at. I feel like this call is gonna, well, it's almost the same thing as this 4-hour call here, so I guess I can get rid of it. Now that 4-hour call's been made, that call, it basically consumed that whole 1-hour call and combined it with this 4-hour call. So, okay. So what I'm kind of looking at is Let me make this red. And if you look where the take profit zone is. It's pretty much just above and right at this resistance, just above and right at this resistance. So I could very well see, especially if Sol moves sideways, you know, can have something like that. And you see how that would trigger that call and fill it. And even filling this long call, Solana could still then go down. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going up just because we take a long call. And same thing if we drop down into this 4 hour, I could see how we could test resistance and then either make the higher low and continue up or continue to just fucking shit the bed. But if you see, there's our pattern, right? There's the M, level 1, level 2, formation, and breakout, right? Wow, that looks insane, don't it? I'm just going to leave them EMAs there to see what happens. But, whoa. Right? So you see this formation right here. So now you see that same formation and how it could potentially fill these long calls. So the fact that we have had our break or a retest without breaking back in, without making a new high, if we don't hold above the EMA here and above the RSI, not financial advice, do your own research. I would not be surprised if Solana drops down another 10, 12% to retest. Look at where this Thor long call is too. Where do you think this long-term EMA is going to be by that time? Maybe somewhere right around here. As if price action is going to come down, retest the EMA. Where do you think the white EMA is going to be if the blue is there? Here's what I see if I were to just draw it out. The blue is slower to react because it's a longer term, right? The white reacts quickly because it's the shorter term. So you're going to have price test the long term, test the short term. Come down, return back to the long term and short term to retest them. Price action always wants to stay near the white line. If it snaps away too far, you can guarantee at some point it's going to snap back to it. Right? So it's always going to snap back to the white line. See, anytime it gets away, it kind of snaps back to it. When you think about a rubber band, the harder it snaps up, the harder it could fly down until it starts to settle, until it gets plucked and gets its volatility again. But that's how I see those Thor calls playing out. Anybody new is probably like, what the fuck? There's so many lines. I have no idea what's fucking happening or what he's talking about. That's okay. If you don't understand charts, if this is confusing you more, you don't need to understand charts to use Thor and be a successful trader. What you do need to know how to do is look at these calls and take action. So I'm going to go ahead and go to that next unless someone has a specific question on the chart here. but then I'll
Yeah.
jump into Thor.
When the EMAs cross over, what is that an indication of again?
So you're saying if, say, the white line comes down like this and the blue line like that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that is an indication that we could be going bearish. Let's zoom out here a bit. Tell you what I'm going to actually do. Can I? All right. So there we go. We have no candles at all. All we're looking at is the EMAs, right? So you can tell when I like to make the blue is the long term, right? The white is the short term. The white stands out well. I make the blue because I think of it as underwater, right? If you look at price when the white is below the blue, man, we're underwater. We're going down. You get a little bit of air, you get above water, you got some hope. But when you're below water and underwater, you're looking at bearish activity. Now, once you're above water and you're riding the tide, you can see when the EMA breaks above, that's when we get our pumps, right? And you see they move sideways and they test. But when you really get a breakout one way or the other, you know, you see how long the white stayed above the blue. So if when the white does come down and cross below again, that's an indication that we could be going down. And honestly, I still fully say and believe we can come retest this, 28 to 33 zone, lose over 50% and still be bullish. Because if you zoom out, really zoom out, we have our low, high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. Even losing over 50% and coming back to $30 would still give us the higher low and indicate a higher high. I know that sounds crazy that we could go from $73 down to $30 and still be long-term bullish, but look at the chart. We could retest here and it just be our next bottom. And what we might see, just since we're on the topic of EMAs, what we might see if that were to happen is the long-term kind of come down. And the long term obviously reacts slower because it's not it's just longer term. It takes longer price action data input to print. So the shorter term would probably do a bunch of shit like this, testing it, maybe come up once or twice, and then something like that. So you can see how you can long-term trade just looking at the EMA crossing. And when it breaks and holds above, you're going up. See, we got the break and the retest even on the EMA. If we are to get the break and the retest, that's indicating we're going to continue short. If we get the break and a retest, I would think we would continue long. Does that? So this would be considered, you'd hear someone say a bullish cross. This be a bearish cross, a bullish cross, a bearish cross when the EMAs cross over. Does that help? Make sense?
Yeah, tremendously. Appreciate that.
Perfect. Awesome. I'm like, what in the hell? Why does this look so weird? Because I still don't have my candles on here. Another thing I wanted to show you guys, if candles are confusing to you, right? Like, let's say I'm just gonna go to this soul chart since it's not as much shit. If candles confuse you and you're like, man, this is so much to look at, I don't know what's going on, you can come up here to the candles and you can change them to all kinds of different things, all kinds of different candles and bars and everything else. But if they confuse you, you can simply make price align. So now you're not looking at all those candles. Now you're just looking, and we can make this any color we want. We'll make it something bright, and we'll make it big just so we can see it. How about that? We'll go orange. Okay. And I made the line bigger too. Okay, so now we're looking at price action on top of the EMA. So you don't have to look at candles if you don't want to look at candles. And if you look, things still work out the same way. You can still connect the lows. There's our longer term, right? Oh my gosh, there's so many things on this chart to grab onto. You know what I mean? So you can still draw your lines, and it's going to be a little bit different because you're not catching the wicks, but you can still get the same general consensus as, okay, connect the lines, connect the lines, connect the lines. Okay, we have the lower low or lower high, break and retest. This uptrend is ended. Prepare for either sideways, slower uptrend, or downtrend. But this uptrend is ended. The trend is your friend till the end. And you remember, look at this downtrend. So when we had the break and the retest on the downtrend, this trend has ended. This trend, this was your friend until the end. So you start the new trend. You ride the new trend. The trend is your friend until when? Until it ended. So now we have the shorter upturn. That's your friend until the end. We'll see when it ends. If this is, I won't do it, the higher low there. Right here's where our triangle was. Where's triangle? So that's kind of where our triangle was. Oh shit! Now it's on this chart too. Yeah. So yeah, if candles confuse you, you don't like looking at candles, you can easily just turn it into a line and look at price action on a line instead. Clean up some of this. Okay. Okay. So again, you don't have to do this. If you, this helps me see, okay, we've made the break, retest, and I can see why Thor made these calls and how they might fill out and be able to watch what's going on. Just like, you know, let's look at these short calls back here. We had two short calls, both triggered, both took profit. We had this short call trigger, and go over 6% in the correct direction before ultimately going the other direction. If you know how to look at charts, you could see, okay, well, we found support on the EMA. Okay, we found support on the EMA again. If I'm moving up, you would basically look at shorter term. You would look at that as your resistance line. Let's zoom in to just a little bit shorter. And you would see, okay, well, we broke out of it. I should probably close this short position, or at least move my stop loss up to 0. Why let a position that's gone 6% in the right direction turn out to be a negative? So you could have set stop loss, you know what I mean? This short, it triggered way back here, but if you did take it, it eventually filled. This short here is where we left off on last stream. Yes, it did pump through and make a new high, but ultimately this still filled. So looking at the chart and seeing, okay, yes, this was a short, and I actually did get in entry here. Once we pumped, I actually set a stop loss. Once we pumped, I was out of it. And once we made a higher low, this is where I actually got back into the short, was in the entry zone after we retested and followed that short down to here. So I actually got in it in the beginning, got stopped out, and then got in and filled. Being able to look at the charts can help you make your decisions on the calls you want to make and everything else. Now,
that's that's exactly where I tried to chase chase it going back up on a long, and I didn't use risk management. I got greedy, and that got me wrecked.
Yeah, remember, you always want to buy or sell on support or resistance, right? So you don't want to be going long, say, okay, let's say this triangle, right? If you miss the break, you don't want to be going long up here. You want to wait for the retest. You want to buy on support somewhere. You don't want to be buying up here. Just like, if you're going short, let's say you wanted to go short up here, you don't buy once it's pumping way down. You wait until it comes back to either the resistance or the EMA or resistance on the RSI. You sell on resistance or buy on some kind of support. So you wouldn't want to buy when you're up in here pumping. You'd want to wait until it comes back, touches the EMA, makes a higher low at least, So always try to buy on support and sell on resistance. And the thing is it's not always like here. You could say, okay, well, I'm going to wait until it hits resistance to sell. Well, here it didn't. And then it went way down. That's fine. Because you know what? Here it did. Right? There's always another call. If you're just trading, trying to make more money, there's always another call. I promise you. So don't feel like, oh, I missed that one and you have to chase it. No, you just stay loaded and ready for the next one. So you don't have to chase. Let me go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying I've got some discipline to further instill. But one thing
the hardest part of trading, dude. In my opinion, that's the hardest part of trading.
Dude, but I'm honest with myself. So I'm okay with losing what I'm okay with taking the risks I take. And what I can afford to lose. So fortunately, when you follow the rules, it's bleeding on the right side of profitability. But one thing,
Well said.
one thing I want to get more insight on, that I notice that you portray it in chart on, is why Thor makes the calls instead of, because I understand how, no, well, like in positioning of price action, and when I see a Thor call, I understand how it can transition into that call. But what I want to better my TA so that I can understand why Thor would make that call. And you just explained it perfectly earlier. But yeah, that's something I want to get better at.
So Thor is, like I said, when Thor makes a call, why is this? Let me go back. When Thor makes a call, like for instance, if we're looking at this section again, and this isn't necessarily exactly what's going to happen, right? But let's say that's what Solana does, like we were talking about before. Let me draw it back in. Where the fuck's that? All right. Okay, so one thing you'll notice in these levels, and it's not always perfect, but you'll notice in levels, like that Thor call, that long call is right here. And the other long call is right here. Right? And Thor will probably have a short call right there. And a short call right there. Because what Thor understands is levels, retest, probability. I mean, it does way more, but and this isn't going to work out perfect because I didn't draw it for this per se. But if let's say the top, well, need to do something else. There we go. See how things happen in levels, right? So if you break this level and you hit here, high probability you hit the ceiling again before anything. If you break down here, there's a high probability you hit the ceiling before anything. If you break through and hit the roof, there's a high probability that you break down to the floor again before anything. You get what I'm saying? And that's the same way that Thor is operating here. As you can see where blocks of price action, see how this was resistance, 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 and then it became support, 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 resistance, support, resistance, and then we broke out of it. It became support, 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 support. So Thor is saying if we break down into this zone again, there's a high probability that we refill this zone, because look how many times we've gone through and tested this zone, right? Does that make sense of how it looks at where support and resistance is? Just like here, the top of that last 4 hour short, look at where the top of the take profit is for this 1 hour long. Exactly where the top of this 4 hour short entry call was. So Thor works with data points and levels. It's not saying if we get down here, the market is going long and we're going to Valhalla. It's saying if we hit this entry point, there is a high probability that we are going to retest. If we hit this entry point, there's a high probability we're going to retest this zone before we either break back down or we just continue to break out. Don't know. Thor doesn't know. What Thor is very confident in is if we hit this zone, we're at least going to retest the top of this zone. If we drop down to this zone, there's high probability that we are going to retest this before we then continue to break out or find resistance and break down further. Just like, Solana was pumping here, right? Sol's pumping. Thor was confident that if we hit these price points, that we were going to retest these EMAs. And what was resistance, 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 resistance? It was going to either find it as support or it was going to break through it. And we found it as support. Does that make sense? How it figures out?
Yeah.
And again, Thor is so much fucking smarter than that. It is not just that simple. It takes into account the volume, the number of trades, all kinds of different things within these ranges, and then calculates what probability it is to fill it before going yet. So it's not just simply, it just picks a level to retest. It does that, but then
of course not.
it does a ton more as well.
Oh,
Yo.
hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, how are you? I had a question. Do you and Thor take into account BTC and ETH price action when making the calls?
So you mean on the Solana calls?
Yes.
I'm sure in some way that it does look at, the total 2 and probably total 3 as well, and looks at all those metrics. If you don't know what I mean by that for people on the stream, so it can look at layer 1s, not counting Bitcoin and Ethereum. It can count layer 1s with Ethereum. But yeah, we know Bitcoin price action leads the way, but data is data. And, TA usually plays out. But yeah, Bitcoin and the market sentiment as a whole absolutely plays a factor into it.
Thanks very much.
For sure. All right, let me pull up. I have Thor Pro on right now, so we're just gonna go with that. Okay, so I guess I can switch it to. So right now I have on all calls for Solana. All longs, all shorts, any time frame. This 15-minute call, it's actually 4% to TP1, not bad. If you want to look at that, here's the metrics for it. I'll leave it up for a second if you want to write it down. If depending on how many frogs you have, you may not have the 15-minute. So here's a Solana 15-minute call, and it is actually the first long call that is going to trigger because it's the highest entry point. So if you want to write down that entry and take profit point real quick, go for it. I don't always talk about 1 hour on Trader Tuesday. Usually on the Trader Tuesdays, I stick to the 4 hour and the daily charts just because they're the calls that play out a week or two, and then the dailies, could take a week or two up to a month or more. But they're good time frame for us to look at on stream, and me make updates once or twice a week. You guys be able to check them out, and us be able to trade these 4-hour calls together. That being said, last week I did post a 1-hour call, and I did post this call on my chart as well, and that's because this is a 6.8% profit to TP1. So it is pretty significant. And looking at my own TA, I saw where it looked like it was in a significant zone. I saw where, when I look at this call, this 1-hour long call here, I can see where it could be triggered, where it would be filled, where it could take fill on resistance, support. Look for it to be support again. Look for it to be support on top of the long-term EMA, and look for it to find resistance at resistance, our downturn resistance, and retest the short-term EMA. So I can fully understand and see why this call was made, and therefore I am posting this 1-hour call. Even though we don't really talk about 1-hour calls on Trader Tuesday too often.
So you said, Mo, because it passes all of the resistance levels, that it further strengthens your.
Yeah, I can see. So the entry point is on support, right? Support of the EMA. What was resistance? What was resistance? What was resistance became support. So I could see it being support. What was resistance at this short? Resistance.
Oh, okay.
And now we have resistance here. I could see that being a good take profit point. I can see why it called this take profit, because it's meeting resistance. So I can see it called entry on support and exit on resistance. I can see why this 4-hour going back, resistance, then it became support. If you look, this goes right through. I can see why it's saying if we retest these levels and find it as support, we're going to retest, and the blue line then will probably be resistance. We have resistance here, and it would be potential resistance if we fall through there. So I can see how we're entering on support and exiting on resistance. Just like if you were to enter short at this, lower high, or if we lose the EMA and RSI, if we lose support, right? Losing support is essentially a form of resistance. So you're entering near resistance, and you're going to take your profit on support. You're going to enter your short on resistance and take your profit on support. If you're going long, you enter on support, exit on resistance. Enter on support, exit on resistance. So you always want to, always enter on support and always exit or short on resistance. It'll keep you more honest and keep you from chasing. And it'll keep you from doing things like thinking, oh, right here is maybe the retest. So just give it a minute. Wait and wait until, okay, now you've hit resistance and printed candles against resistance. Wait for it to show itself. That's the difference in what you'll hear people say confirmation. And sometimes a confirmation is not your first indication, right? Your first indication would be this lower high here. That's your first indication. Your first real confirmation is the break and the retest. Now we'll see, do we find support here? Or do we find this as the break, the retest, drop down, make a lower low, lower high, lower low, maybe lower high?
Mode.
What's up?
Maybe it's gonna take you out of topic. If it will, you can just shut me off, or cut my wings. But what is your, or maybe we can talk about it later. What's your thoughts on all the hype on the ETFs? Like that would be, I know that wouldn't be TA, more like fundamental.
I'll be honest.
Out of topic.
I don't pay as much attention to the fundamentals. Fundamentals are more important in investing than in trading, in my opinion. Like, are you? So this is another good point to bring up too, I guess, real quick. One thing to determine as a quote unquote trader, or whatever you want to call it, what type of trader are you trying to be? Are you trying to make better entries and exits on your investments? So an investment trader trying to make good entries and exits, or are you a trader that is trying to take advantage of whatever is moving, get in, out, and make money with it? Those are two different things. Now, fundamentals are much more important when looking at long-term investment trading. And I'll be honest, I've just been, this is my busiest time of year. And I have not been able to keep up with much of what's trending or what's in the news or anything else. So that type of fundamentals and like sentiment activity, honestly, I'm really not up on to let it affect my trading at this point. But good question.
Yeah. I've been like, I try and have because kind of like crypto retired me on 2020, but like it's been a real battle for me to keep those two mindsets apart. The trader one, which I want to like you say, like take a little nibble or bite out of the market and get on with my life, because that's like the clear path. But then the other side, which is kind of like the investor, which is like moon boy mentality, which is like I want to accumulate as much coins as possible for like the fucking 200K Bitcoin mark and like $1,000 Solana. So like I want to have as much as possible, but like it's very hard to, when I get my trader hat on, it's very hard because sometimes it's the perfect opportunity to short, but then my investor hat or like the investor side would be like, what are you doing? Why are you shorting something that you want to hold forever?
Exactly. It's like buying Solana at $18 and selling it at 25. That's great profit, right? But then you're like, why am I selling Solana at $25?
Yeah, so like as a trader, it's viable because of the RR, but as an investor, maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's where you got to decide what you're trying to do. And honestly, that's why that's why I love Thor Pro so much. Or I'm sorry, the Auto Thor so much, because it is taking nickel and dime profits and increasing my long-term HODL bag, right? So my bag of Solana that I plan on holding forever, The contract outperforms holding Solana. It outperforms staking and holding Solana. Outperforms USDC and staking USDC. So why not for the bag of Solana that I have that I am just holding till it becomes $1,000? Why not let Thor, because Thor's goal, the Auto Thor, this is a point to make too. Auto Thor goal is to make more SOL, right? It is a crypto accumulation tool. So
Yeah.
its goal is to make you more Solana with the Solana you already have. So if you are, like, obviously sounds like you are too, bullish that, we're going to see the 100K Bitcoin and the $1,000 Solana, I want my Solana to just kind of be making me more of it in the meantime. Now, I will sell some of my personal Solana bags to, basically in essence, kind of short. What I mean is you could sell a little bit of your bag of Solana, say sell a little bit here, and then buy it back. So you're either just getting, what would that be? So you'd be getting 5% more Solana. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're also like saving that's 5%. You're saving the discount from that 5%.
Right.
If you were to hold it.
Right. So it's you really have to determine what your main goal is. Are you trying to just make more USDC right now? Or are you trying to make more Solana to make a shit ton more USDC later? You have to look at what your goals are. That'll help you figure out your time frame. I have in the Tuesday Trader Review a write-up that is all about understanding time frames and how long the time frames those calls take to play out, and are you a scalping trader or are you an investment style trader, and which time frames you should kind of be looking at for that, if that makes sense. So yeah. I have my bullish SOL bag. I let Thor manage most of it.
That's how confident you are in the AI.
Yes. Yeah.
That's big bullshit. Damn.
Yeah.
I'll let you do your thing. I don't want to make it like, I know you're like trying to help in like all the levels here, so I really appreciate.
Oh no, all this is important, and this is all part of trading. So most my bag is in the Auto Trader, and then I have a smaller bag that I will personally trade in and out of on these Thor calls to try to make more. And then what I try to do is on a 4-hour long or a 4-hour daily, that's where I try to DCA and put more into my auto contract. If I've made money from manual trading or flipping NFTs, I will enter some USDC or some of that SOL on these either 4-hour longs or daily calls. Usually is where I like to DCA in to my contract.
Yeah, I've seen that most of those calls are basically where it's like super like oversold. So like it makes sense to like buy spot over those areas, which is the area that, yeah.
Yeah, if it's a good time to interact with spot, then exactly that's when I'm making my moves on Thor, because Auto Thor is set up to be a spot contract, although it's doing so much more now, and like it's put it this way, it's going to continue to do more and more. It's already staking, and now that we're integrating with Mango, we're going to start doing a lot more shorting. So not only taking profits, but then taking that profit and entering it into a short. But the focus and the goal of accumulating more.
Wait, I'm sorry. My bad for interrupting.
Still the same.
Did you just say with the mango steak profits, it'll use that to short?
I said when now that it'll be able to use will be integrated with Mango markets. So when Thor
Yeah,
takes
it has
profit,
perps.
yeah, Thor will have access to more liquidity. So we'll be able to Auto Thor will not only take shorts, but the money it just took profit on going long, it will then enter a short. So you're essentially making more on the way up and down and really becoming a fully automated hedge fund, decentralized hedge fund, accountable on blockchain.
That's crazy. Let's fucking go.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that the contract was like Thor was also staking some of the soul.
Oh yes. So if you look at your contract, you'll see there's M Sol and there's B Sol, and USDC. So the USDC that it's just holding, it is staking the USDC. The Solana that it is just holding, it is staking. So when it comes time to sell it, Thor automatically unstakes it and then
Because it's
sells it.
liquid, yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
So that's why we have not all the liquidity in one place. We have the liquidity where we can move it and make our moves. But literally, Thor says, okay, what's smartest to do with your money? Have it in just USDC or have it in Solana? Okay. What is smartest? Get ready to sell it or to hold it? Okay, we're going to hold this SOL. Well, we might as well stake it for a while then. You know what I mean? It's whatever the smartest thing to do with your money between USDC or Solana is at that time. Thor is making the move. And you can see every move it makes, it shows you the sales and purchases on the spot contract. We are updating and working the UI to where you'll be able to also see how much of it is being staked, what percent has been earned from staking, what percent has been earned from shorting, or perpetuals. It'll probably just be perpetuals, not shorts. But you get what I'm saying. The interface will show you. You'll be able to break it down to where you can see each part, where everything's going, what it's been doing with. Which is awesome. And why I'm so fucking bullish for the BTC Sol contract for the
Oh, don't get me fucking bricked up.
dude.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. People don't even fucking know. Like, yeah.
Well, that's why I just got my Thor journal, because Jesus.
Let's fucking go, bro.
Exactly.
Nice.
I was able to get myself a Mad Lad. It was a Lassie. And as soon as I see that shit ripping, I was like, I have my, like, I knew I was like priced out as soon as Sol started ripping, and I didn't have the liquidity at that point. And like I had my goals already. Like I'm really, that's why like I connected with a lot of what you're doing, like with Sile and like all, like I'm very analytic, and I
I can tell. I can tell.
and I worked for a forex broker, so like I'm really analytic. So I do this like the 2-year job that I got out of college that basically was like forced labor by my family was basically Excel or Google Sheets, whatever. And now what I do is I just like fucking play with, like, just get like mental off of like how much I like, what's my goal, what is where I want to leverage, and like because of the Mad Lad sale, I was able to just cut my costs to make my goals in half, basically. And it was a rare one, so yeah, I was really lucky.
You do know that we are gonna have this for Forex, right?
Yeah, I seen Sile post yesterday.
This Saturday updates. He always does updates on Saturdays. He posts all the time. That motherfucker is so, he's just constant. That's why I say Thor is constant evolution. It does not stop. What it does now is not what it's going to do next week. It's constant evolution. But yes, the fact that we're going to open basically this up to Forex traders where they can select, deselect whatever assets they want.
I don't have that because I only have a third and all, so I gotta pump those numbers up and get myself a CF ASAP
Yeah,
for a
you do,
couple
bro.
of them. Yeah,
Because essentially what's going to happen,
it's getting hot in here, bro. Yeah,
what's going to happen is when people are able to interact with this, it's going to be a subscription model, right? And as people are paying for their subscription model, and a lot of this may change, this isn't exact, but essentially,
yeah, I can see where it's going.
yeah, what's going to happen is people are going to buy a subscription model for Forex. They're not even going to know it has anything to do with crypto. They're not going to pay with anything in crypto. They don't need a crypto wallet. And when they do, a portion of their cost, subscription cost, automatically goes to buying and burning Kira, as if they were buying their subscriptions in Kira. So, hence having the Alpha Frog and the Kira.
Yeah.
And the subscription paid for by having your frog, essentially.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm not saying that you'll have full subscription to the Forex by having it, but you have subscription to Thor, and you're earning Kira.
Yeah, it's kind of like what's happening with that mobile thing with the sagas, where like you're basically paying your like cell phone provider with just getting mobile, and some more.
It is
the
an
Helium
interesting concept. Yeah, someone asked me to look at that last week.
I just set it up, dude. I just set it up, and I'm
Yeah, it's really cool.
yeah.
It's paradigm, like you interact using blockchain, getting paid, like you said, and then getting paid to support the system, and then you use that payment to pay your bills, and it's cheaper.
Well, dude, this is the future. Like, I'm sorry, but besides Cyber Frogs, really, no one's done shit of anything that's valuable that people outside of our ecosystem give a fuck about. And I'm not saying that to shit on anyone. What I'm saying is, if you look outside of people involved in NFTs, it doesn't matter. When you have things that involve with cell phone payments and plans, when I'm telling you, when someone's going to make an app that when you go outside and you get a real picture of the sky and the weather reading, you're going to earn some type of credits, because everyone needs to look at the weather every single day. And one of the ways I thought about it, I was brainstorming with a dude that wanted to create some type of NFT or app, and he loves surfing. And we were brainstorming, and I said, dude, what if you made like an app where if a person checks in at the beach and uploads a live photo at the beach and of the surf conditions, they earn credits to your surf sponsors, right? So now that's a tight niche because it's surfers. But when you open it up to something like cell phones or weather data, or maybe let's say if you say, hey, there's an accident here, or there's a detour here on something like Google Maps, and you're giving valuable input and operation and can be rewarded for it. These are the things that blockchain is going to change how we interact. Like, in my opinion, I don't give a fuck where you are in the world, even if you don't have internet service and you're in a third world country. The internet still affects your everyday life, whether it's getting medicines, whether it's money, contact, whatever it may be. The internet affects our everyday life wherever we are. I think blockchain is going to do the same. Eventually, it's going to interact with everything that we do because it's accountable and recordable, and best of all, rewardable. And I think it's going to interact with everybody's everyday life.
Well, I think I totally agree with you, and like that's what was being disruptive with like the whole last cycle with Ethereum. It's just like people realized, like, wait a minute, I don't want to pay fucking $100 to full port 50. Like, what the hell? When it's congested, and now we have solution to that. So like it's evolving. And it's
I always
and
like to compare Ethereum to Netflix and say, if it was
Blockbuster.
if it was as hard or as expensive to watch a movie on Netflix as it is to move money on Ethereum, no one would watch fucking Netflix because it's too hard and too expensive. Just like now that there's other options, I really don't think people are going to continue to fuck with Ethereum. User interface, mass adoption, you need to solve a problem or give solution, number one. You have to be free or absolutely cheap and reasonable in cost. And number three, which is equally important on the list as the other two, is user interface. It has to be fucking easy to use. Ethereum is not cheap. It is not fucking easy. It does have the network right now. But that network effect could easily change with mass adoption. Everyone that's in crypto right now is kind of in ETH. But the majority of people are not in crypto. And when
Look at BlackBerry.
it's not going to be into ETH at this point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Like all the Wall Street bros were in BlackBerry. Like all the big boys were in BlackBerry, and then in a flip of a second, it just changed, and that can happen easily. I'm not saying NFA, but the platforms can easily switch.
I think
No.
I'm in love. I think I'm in love. I just wanted to say that.
My man.
Listen to some Soul Maxes.
No, I've never heard you talk before, Mode. Like.
Oh.
He's the goat, man. He's the goat.
He's a goat already. So.
Yeah, bro. I agree with that.
I appreciate that.
I'm thankful for everything that you're doing.
I totally agree with what you're saying with ETH. Like ETH is like you think about like the early days of Bitcoin and shit, like all the dinosaur stuff that came out, like what's stuck the longest, it's pretty much Litecoin and ETH, and they're gonna wash away with mass adoption. I agree with that 100%.
First doesn't always mean best.
Exactly.
It's like America Online.
Like the only like thing that's keeping ETH maxis to ETH is the fact that it made them rich. So
exactly. You took the words out of my mouth.
It's the network. Honestly, it's because there is such a large network of liquidity. It's not just the amount of liquidity, but it's the large wallets tapped into that liquidity that are keeping it alive.
Wealth
and
effect.
Just denial. Now,
yeah.
Go ahead.
I got a really close friend from high school that he got paid with CryptoPunks on his job out of college. He was working for Rainbow Wallet, and he told me all these stories of like, I think they called it the Dark Forest in New York, which was like where Gemini Exchange had their like physical exchange or like offices and like trading offices, and a lot of stuff like Uniswap was there too, and like the whole Uniswap socks stuff. And he even told me like, I made a shit ton of money. I only hold my CryptoPunks because of culture, but I sold all my ETH. And he told it's so crazy because he told it to me like at 65K Bitcoin before the blow off top. And he got out. And this is a guy that made like his retirement out of ETH. And he's just like, he told me, I feel like people are married to their bags and I don't like it. And I think he's still fucking working for Rainbow Wallet.
You know, that's one of the things that's crazy about fucking NFTs is you can get attached to your investment, married to your investment. I mean, your PFP can kind of feel like a representation of you to where you don't want to sell it, even if it's worth, if it were just a slip of paper, or
Yeah.
a normal contract or a normal bond, you're like, I don't give fuck, yeah, I'm making bank. But it's easy to get married to an NFT, which is human nature. And it's one of the reasons I know that NFTs are far, 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 far from fucking dead. It's human nature. And I feel like, the people that made the most money in NFTs had already kind of gone through it somewhat. And same with crypto, it kind of gone through a bear market, right? And you learn, okay, don't get married to your bags. Anything is possible. The market can make shit drastic swings, and you're more educated and more wise to take advantage of things. And man, I feel like when this next wave comes in, the people that are here and have been here for a while, like, these are the people that we're the next wave to make our retirement.
So basically, whoever has been biting the pillow is gonna have somebody else biting a pillow.
Dude, it's gonna happen. And the thing is we honestly haven't even, in my opinion, I hate to even say it, we're early, but we're fucking early.
Yeah, I agree.
No one is using this shit yet. No one.
Well, with the whole like ETH dilemma, like their only argument right now is like the provenance and like that it wasn't really developed to be used in a massive way, but just like more for like big organizations. I like, full disclosure, I don't hold any ETH. I literally exchange it all for Sol. But that's like the big argument, right? Like, big orgs are going to use their rails because they're safe or whatever. I don't care.
It makes sense. Look, if you're going to send $5 million or $500,000, let's just say $500,000, is spending $150 in gas fee. So fucking what? Okay, I'll spend $150 to send 500,000 safely, securely, and be able to follow it. I'm not going to send an $8 JPEG for $150. I'm not going to send my buddy $10 for $150. So for
you guys remember that other deed, from Yuga Labs, when they minted out like 2 years ago, and the fucking I think it's like a record-breaking gas fee consumption. It was like $52 million spent in gas fees alone that day.
Insane.
Yeah,
I just don't get
that's
it.
That's the only argument that it has going for it. And I think that, like, so it like my train of thought goes like more towards like kind of like Sol and Sol platforms, but like no one does it as good as Sol. I could be wrong.
Yeah, ETH's angle is now at this point, like, they were first for putting smart contracts mixed with blockchain, right? And that was revolutionary. That's how you have NFTs. It's an if-then. It's a contract on the blockchain, verifiable. And they weren't built to scale like this, like as quickly. And and the demand is coming, right? That's the difference. The demand is, and that's where we're saying, like, NFTs now, they went through, like, think about this. Think about all the bear markets all of the markets have ever felt. Stocks, everything, how everything gets destroyed relatively. The fact that any internet pictures at all right now have any value shows you what is going to happen when the sentiment flips in the macro. They debase currency and money flows to assets that have any value, especially if you have communities who hold that shit for different reasons, like we've all said here. I have friends holding this. I'm not selling this shit. This picture is me. This frog is me. All of those things play in. And then you add in things like Thor. Why would I sell this when it prints me more money?
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I
those
mean,
types of things, it's going to get out of hand.
the way that I try and think things is like I like as an investor, and that's what I was trying to like talk with Mode about it, because like it's hard to fight against like the small devil on my shoulder and then the small angel, in this case like ETH or Soul kind of thing. Like I like and look for asymmetrical bets. I don't see an asymmetrical bet on ETH unless I would like like the my company, like my fund, I bought ETH at $90. That was asymmetrical because like the win to like the risk to reward was there. It's not there anymore. I don't think so, in my opinion.
More
Right.
or much
Right.
Soul than ETH in this next round.
Exactly.
Like without question.
Because like think about it, it's sluggish in terms of like the movement that it could have. Yeah, the ETF could be approved. Yeah, but like how much market cap does? And I know I'm comparing apples to pears, kind of, but like how much market cap does ETH have, and how much does it need to move to like 15K?
100%. 100%.
How much?
ROI is way higher on Soul.
And
100%.
add add all that you were saying. We got the community, we got the people that are coming from ETH to us, we got the hard ass motherfuckers that have went through the mud basically.
Yeah,
Like-
and one of the biggest things that we've said too is, you know, it's the scalability of Soul. And what that means is it's going to attract the devs. Like what attracts people to a blockchain per se or anything? There's got to be reasons to go there. And for reasons to be there, you need someone to build it. And if you can build something that's scalable to have more people use your thing, where do you think they're going to build that on right now? Soul or ETH, right? Like,
Exactly.
and if you have more devs building on Soul, that's higher probability they're going to build the next STEPN that brings people to, oh, I could walk and earn money to get paid to walk.
Bro.
You know, like it's just wait. It's gonna get fucking crazy. It's gonna get crazy.
Last cycle, I would have like my mom asked me like, oh, I have X amount of money. Where would I park it? And Soul wasn't as big like at that point, so she had like 10 ETH and she almost made it, but there was like some country restrictions and she had to sell. But back then, I would have told her buy ETH, which is what I did. I also told her NFA, and I gave her all the full disclosure. But like ETH.
Yeah, mom, do your own research. You know.
Yeah, exactly. But there was the asymmetrical bet. Like we had asymmetrical bets all around, and I know this cycle we had it when Soul got to $8, and I kind of like sold it back there because I didn't have the liquidity to buy there. But I don't see the asymmetrical bet on ETH. Like it's, yeah, I can get to 15K, but like, I mean, it also could go to 0. You could also say the
If
same
ETH
thing
goes
with
to 15K, think about what Soul's at then.
Exactly. Yeah. So
way more in a multiple.
Soul has already shown that like last couple of weeks it's doing multiples more volume. It's kind of like it's a meme because like they were saying we are poor on this chain, but like they're showing that they're kind of like having duress on these times right now because they're getting the poors or like the plebs, us quote unquote said by them, like do more volume than them right now. So the flippening that they've been talking about, ETH flippening BTC, we're kind of like starting to flip ETH.
Yeah.
It's an FU moment.
My favorite thing with ETH was also this is the ETH 4-hour call, 4-hour long call. I just charted. Also looks like we had the break and retest. So if we don't hold support in this pinch, if you are holding a bag of ETH, you could potentially sell a little bit, you know, and look to re-enter close to 20% cheaper at the long position. Not financial advice, do your own research, but here's the long position for you.
Set to sell.
But my favorite thing that
Mo said buy bonk with my ETH.
My favorite thing about people on ETH was all they ever talked about is what ETH will do one day and what Solana does, which is completely backwards. If you're talking about what you're hoping ETH will be in 5 years, you can't talk about only what Solana is doing right now. Like, that is the most backward ass comparison ever. Okay, if you want to talk about what ETH will be in 5 years, you have to think about what Solana will be in 5 years. They used to talk about nothing but the downtime. There's been zero downtime in, what is it, 10, 11 months now? Some shit like that. Like, you can't compare something in its current state to something else in a future state. Like,
Do you think that's
not
because of the
equal comparison.
validators?
It was a lot of things.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. What was that?
The stability of Sol, because
That was one big thing for sure. Is the validator amount, and it was very like relatively centralized through like Discord. And so like, you know, they wouldn't be able to get everybody to update their fucking shit, and it'd take a little bit longer to get it back on. But you're also talking about, you know, when you're mixing in things like Fire Dancer, when that comes to Sol, you're talking about six fucking figure TPS. That's one of the reasons why, other than I got into ETH just messing around with internet pictures, because I'm a collector, and just it was just cheaper, is the scalability of it and how it's not Solana's for the poor, Solana's for the masses. You know, that's
Correct.
how it should be looked at, and it's
Well said.
it's just very, very different, you know, than Solana. And it's like you said, Mode. It's like if you have fucking $1 billion in ETH that you printed, you don't really care as much to send $150 on there at that time, right? That was at that time because Sol was not as reliable. It did go down. It did, right? You didn't, and there was a lot more uncertainty around it. But now it's like you said, when has it gone down? Not saying it can't, but it hasn't, and only time will tell, you know. So,
you know, a lot of people don't remember or realize like Solana, one of the main points of the chain with the microsecond transactions at microcent cost was for finance, was to be able to place and fire these orders, decentralized finance, which, you know, you like I got so fucked in plenty of my early investments decentralized on ETH, because it's like, okay, yeah, I may have bought at a great time on something, but by the time I paid the exchange fee, and then if I go to sell it and I pay the exchange fee again, I've lost a fuck ton of my profits just in the gas fee. It's like, well, I might as well just fucking hold this shit and see if it blows the fuck up, because I can't afford to sell it. I've made profit but can't afford to sell it. Like, how fucking stupid is that?
And the excuse can't be, oh, ETH is for the big boys. Like, come on.
That's literally
It's
that's simply a flex, because you have the money. That doesn't mean you have the brain.
It's
You
like
know
I
what
said,
I'm saying?
That's
Classes
that
only like
yeah.
ETH because it made them fucking rich. Like,
Yeah, that's
the
it. It's
only way.
it's
it's just tribal. It's just tribal, guys. Like, it's tribalism, and that's been a thing that humans have done with every single thing through all of time. Like, it's not just ETH. It's not just it's just tribal, and especially if it made your life. Like, imagine you retire on it, you have a shit ton of money made in it. You're not gonna support something that's against it. You know,
The guys that got rich from Ethereum are the guys that were stacking up Ethereum in the bear and the beginning of the bull
$80
last time.
Yep.
Just like we are
People
here
stacking
now,
$8 Sol.
Stack exactly.
It was
We're
the-
here
it was the
stacking
$80 ETH.
so early.
Yeah, I assure you that those guys that already made it on Ethereum, I'm assuring that, well, maybe not like 100% assurance, but like 95% of those guys are already looking to see where can we diversify.
Oh,
Because
ETH is coming into Sol. You can see it, bro. Look at the
Yeah, like,
shit popping off.
as Mode
It's happening.
says, like, same as Thor. Like, Thor can't just, like, if it had a long 45 days ago and it got invalidated because of X or Y, C protocol or rules it has, it just can't just leave it open or, like, attack that long the same way it thought 45 days ago. So, like, yeah, like, people are moving. People took profits and now they're, I mean, let's be honest, this shit's addicting too. So like these guys made like 500 ETH with like little to small amounts of money and invested, and that's how much they had, and they took profits like rationally. They have liquidity to go into other protocols and pump the shit out of them and like make more money. Why wouldn't you? Like this guy's 500 ETH, I sell 80% of it. I still hold, I don't know, 100 ETH, 80 ETH, whatever. I'm holding till I die, whatever, or when it pumps again, I'll sell. But the writing is on the walls, I think. I mean, I don't know if I sound crazy. I don't know, but
No, I don't think you do. It's like memes, right? Like, look at what meme tokens did in ETH. They had crazy ETH season out of airdrop season because all the liquidity. But you had ETH gas. You had these things. Now you have Sol, and you don't have to. It's instant. You send it. It's done. You can trade
Dude,
in and out for $10 for the cost of
been
nothing.
reading those
You know?
those threads, dude, and it's just I lived the bull market of 2017 through one of my boys because I wasn't still in crypto. He would refresh his Binance account and it would go up 12K every refresh.
Oh god, the emotions, dude.
Oh, dude, I was
Refresh.
I was a badass trader when I first started crypto because every time I bought something, number went up. It didn't matter what the fuck I was buying.
Everyone's a genius in a bull market, you know.
Exactly.
And I lived it, dude. On 2020, I lived it too. Like, but like by myself, I also committed a lot of mistakes. But I lived the ETH, like the cycle. Money comes into Bitcoin. Bitcoin pumps the shit up. Sometimes ETH leads the way. This time around, I think Sol is leading the way, which is super ironically.
Oh, it is leading the way so far.
As far as layer ones, it is definitely kind of leading the way. Yeah.
Where I want to get to is like I lived it on ETH, where like everybody was trying to get their airdrops, everybody was trying to get their NFTs, everybody was trying to get like fucking bet on this or that inside the chain. Where I saw it on Uniswap first, I saw it on Binance Smart Chain first, and it was all like all this trickling butterfly fucking effect, and it was everybody was making money. I see it on Solana now, like I feel it, like I have the ape tingling
Wait for the
sensation.
liquidity to be injected by the Jupiter airdrop, bro. It's gonna be insane. Yeah, that is gonna be insane. So the liquidity that's gonna come from Jupiter's airdrop is gonna be bonkers.
Wait for ETH. Wait for ETH to start really coming in, because there's a lot of people coping, but there's a lot too that are starting to come in, and that's why we've seen kind of like we feel like we're winning, because like we've seen the memes pump, we've seen NFTs pumping, we've seen Sol pumping. Wait till the ETH like real money starts coming in, and they start really like, fuck this shit, I'm done paying all these fees, fuck this.
Oh yeah.
That's when it's gonna be.
I was told this shit would scale 2.5 years ago, and now they're saying 5 years from now it might be able to do sharding. I'm out.
So Mode on ETH, that long down there, that means we're actually on a short, or we've been on a short, an official short.
I don't know that we are on a short, but what I'm saying is we had that long uptrend. We've had the break and retest, and even if you want to look at the last shorter uptrend, we had the break, and what I kind of see here is we have the M.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna hold support.
Isn't that
And
a
if
lower
we
low? That
hold
was just
support, we might look for the higher high. If we don't hold support, we're probably looking for the lower low, lower high, retesting the blue line, retesting these bottoms.
isn't
And
that a lower
then,
low on the blue MA that you have there?
say again.
Isn't that a lower low already printed on the blue MA that you have there? That one right there to the left. That
Very
one.
close. You see, I mean, it depends how long a time frame you're looking. Because you could kind of maybe call that a bottom and then this resistance. And now
It
we'll
all
see,
depends if we.
yeah, if we hold here or if we drop here. But if you look down here, it looks like we found resistance on the RSI and found resistance. So what I'm seeing is resistance on the EMA, resistance on this new downtrend, resistance on the RSI, and we have the break and we have the retest. So to me, you have the high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. I think we're going for the lower low.
Yeah, I think so too.
Not financial advice, do your own research. And then if we lose that and we get a break and a retest here, break and retest, expect us to go down and fill that short and complete that 20% move. But even if we don't go 20, I think we'll at least go 10.
What would that be like for the 4 hour long? That would be a 20% drop total.
Correct. That's what I was saying, not financial advice, do your own research, but if you were to
How's
look at
Bitcoin looking
resistance now
compared to this?
and sell a portion of ETH, you could probably buy it back at 20% cheaper and then, or just wait till we get to here and then enter the long. So that's the thing about Thor. You can use it, take shorts, and now you know your take profit point.
Yeah.
Or you can use it to just enter and exit. And I'll show something else real quick.
Alpha, that's like what I do. Like as you're pulling that mode, because you're saying like you have the trader, on left shoulder and investor on right shoulder. I'm more like investor oriented. I'm trying to flirt a little bit with trading, like learning stuff here. But I use the manual Thor calls to optimize my DCAs.
Right.
Much more of a investor style. So because it always hurts me to like you said, you gave the example, like bought sold at 17 and then sold it at 25 and then I'm selling it at 25. I'm like, I believe this is going to like 500, 1,000, whatever. And I'm selling it for what?
Yeah, it's a dilemma. That's what
100%. So that's why I use those manual Thor calls.
Okay. I mean coffee, sorry.
Yeah, to optimize those DCAs.
Why the auto is so fucking powerful.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too. I use that. Like I put a portion in the auto trader, so it's my trader, and then I use the manual Thor calls to optimize my DCA, so I'm like satisfying both sides.
One thing I want to touch on before I get far from it, because I've shown the entries and exits for both Solana as well as Ethereum, there is risk management. We always talk about risk management is the most important part of trading. You have to manage your risk and not just in individual trades, but your bag as a whole overall. And right here we have a risk management tool. So for that first long call on Solana, if you wanted to take it, you could click risk management. And you enter here how much you're willing to lose. So let's say I'm only willing to lose $20 on this particular trade, right? That's all I'm willing to lose. I'll hit calculate. Now I know where to buy Solana, at what price, like how many Solana, at what price, where my take profit point is, and where my stop loss should be set for a 1-to-1 ratio. Now, if I want to increase that ratio, and have it 1-2, meaning I essentially I want to make twice as much as I'm standing to lose if I'm on the wrong side. It tells you how much to Solana to buy at what cost. Your take profit remains the same, but your stop loss is adjusted also. So plan your trade your plan. Any call on Thor, every single call will have this risk management button next to it where you can click that and figure that out for yourself.
And Mode, and that real quick, that if you click that again, the risk management, what just real quick crash course, what's the 1-to-1 to 1-to-1.5 again?
So 1-to-1 is it basically if you're willing to lose 20 bucks, 1-to-1 is what you're willing to give up to what you stand to make.
Okay, I got you. So it's like,
so if you want
got
to make twice as much, like if you want to make $40 profit per se.
yeah.
Now remember, Thor puts you typically 70% on the right side, so
yeah.
not really a 1-to-1. I mean, it is.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
But yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right. We're going about 2 hours. I'm going to wind up in a minute. Start losing my voice a little bit, but I had something.
I love you, Mode.
I appreciate you guys for real. This is fucking awesome. What's up, bro? Do you have a question?
Yeah, one short question. Can you show the risk management for the 15 minutes call for Soul?
Did you say the 15-minute?
Yeah.
What would you like me to input?
10. Thank you.
For sure.
What Mode? What's the difference if you input TP1 or TP2? It's what changes?
So what's going to change
To the left.
But see your take profit points here.
Yeah.
So you have TP1, TP2, TP3. Now be aware that most of the time when I say it hits take profit, 70% of the time for the most part, that means it hits entry and hits entry point and TP1. So, but if you adjust to TP2 and calculate, it changes how much SOL you're going to buy, where your take profit is, and therefore your stop loss as well.
What the hell?
Yeah, because you've adjusted your profit point, it's going to adjust your stop loss point. It's also going to adjust the amount you buy. It's not going to adjust entry price. So your entry remains the same, but the amount of SOL and your stop loss will change. Fucking amazing, right?
I'm seeing that the TP doesn't change. No, TP didn't change.
Okay, if you
Plus
change the TP2 and then hit calculate again, then it'll recalculate to TP2.
No, it's saying the same for me. The TP, the stop loss changes. The TPs stay the same.
Oh. Well, the TPs are listed down here. What take profit 1 is, what take profit.
Yeah. So if you use TP3, then the program will tell you if you want to risk $100 to make $100, then this would be your setup. If you want to risk 100 to make 150,
TP3 is listed here. So that's where, it doesn't change it. So it's not going to change any of the numbers here. This is where you buy at, the price you buy at, and your stop loss. All you've changed is whether you're looking at TP3, 2, or 1.
What would you say, like, if I'm looking at like Bitcoin manual, what I'm looking at 4 hours because
Right.
it was like
Give me, are you done with that? Sorry, are you done looking at
Sorry.
this 15-minute chart before I move on from it?
Yeah, I took a photo. So thank you. Yes.
Okay, gotcha. All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure I wasn't running off from you.
yeah.
And
Sorry
you
about that.
were which one were you talking about, Alpha?
No, the community was like telling me that 4 hour was like the time frame to like start with. So I'm looking at BTC 4 hour, and
BTC.
yeah,
Yeah, the 4 hour calls usually have the juiciest profit points. And why I look at them, see 14, that's a big one. 3, that's not huge. 5 is good. 4 is pretty good. But
how
this
do you,
one,
how do you have it to look like that? Like, how did you set it up to look like? What the hell?
so this
like
is Thor Pro that I'm using right here.
I'm
So
jealous.
Thor Pro you unlock with I believe it's 24 frogs. And remember, alpha's count is 2 and beta's count is 1.5. So when you add up, you unlock
And
Thor.
ordinals don't count for anything for this, right? No.
I don't believe so. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
What, for 4 hours? Like that, I'm having trouble. Like, so I'm like doing it arbitrarily, but I think that's bad because like as a trader, you want to be more mechanical, and like have it set basically kind of like set in stone, so you don't have something to blame if it goes wrong, if it goes south. But like, how do you like pick a TP?
Okay. So let's go. What? Like, do you want to do TP 1, 2, or 3? You mean?
Yeah, like of course the TP3 is the best in terms of risk reward, but like what do you do? Like you take some profit in TP1, take some profit in TP2.
You got it.
I'm gonna go back to our soul chart just because I have it, the entry points already drawn out, and I haven't gone on Bitcoin yet. So, for instance, this 1 hour long call, this is take profit 1, right? So if price comes up and it meets resistance on either the EMA or it meets resistance here, then I'm going to take at least some of my profit at TP1. At TP1, I take at least 50% of my profit. I move my stop loss up to at least break even with the rest of it. And then I want to see, do I get a break and a retest? Because here's probably TP2 and here's probably TP3 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now, if I find that this occurs here, I want to take that profit and, get out either like fully close it before I lose any more, or, if it looks like it's meeting resistance. If I'm meeting resistance on the EMA, the RSI is below neutral, I'm going to close it out completely. Same as if I were to enter a short right now. If I'm to enter a short right now, or on resistance, or if I did on this resistance, right? I'm going to take at least some of my profit here, and then I can reload it if I want. At this long, I'll look to say, okay, we're meeting resistance. Load back up, look for the next take profit point. Now, I do the same thing in the TP1, TP2, and TP3, except it's going to look something more like this. Like you're looking at tiny, and do I make the higher low still? Something like that to where I'm still looking bullish. Then maybe I'm going to hold on and look for those TP2 and TP3 points. However, if it looks like it's
Got you.
resistance, I'm making sure I get out of it. If it looks like I'm meeting resistance on the EMA, meeting resistance on the downtrend, meeting resistance on the RSI.
So
But
so
if we
it's
break
more,
above the RSI and we're above the EMA, and we get some wicks up above this, yeah, we might look for keep going higher. That's where. Whoa! I have no idea what that was.
I think it's his mic.
Sounded like a toy truck.
I was like, what the? That's where these trend lines are so powerful. Even in the shorter time frame, in a perfect way. I drew this out the other week to look at the shorter time frame of the pattern, right? You see the big pattern going up. Let me get rid of these yellow lines just to clear this up.
can you hear me?
Yeah, it sounded like a fucking train horn went off and then you were gone.
Are we safe now?
I think so.
Okay, thank God.
We made it to the shelter, man.
I was scared to talk more. I was like, oh shit, it's happening.
So this is a perfect way to look at that shorter time frame pattern. So you see the W, the level 1, level 2, level 3, M formation, level 1, level 2, level 3, W formation, level 1, level 2, level 3, right?
Are those
Same
levels
thing.
Elliott trades? Elliott waves?
Pretty much, yeah, very similar to the Elliott wave, yes. Yeah, that's pretty much what you're looking at. Now, I use my trend lines because they don't always break the same, right? So I want to see where my lower high, my break, and my retest is. The break and the retest is my ultimate indicator, just like we had on live soul price. Remember, we had the where's my fucking triangle? We had the triangle here, right? And I said it's not until we have the break and retest out of this that we know where price direction is going to go.
Yeah, that's incredible. I was here when you were saying that.
Yeah, we had the break, but we failed the retest, right? We had the break here, but we failed the retest. We had the break and we held the retest. So that's your signal. So the break is your indicator. The retest is your confirmation. We had an indication we might go low, but we didn't. All they were doing was liquidating longs, right? People are saying long, they liquidated the longs. They pumped up, liquidated the shorts, came back short, and then went long again, right? But we got the break and we got the retest. What I'm seeing longer term right now is I'm saying we've got the break and we've got the retest. Now we are still holding here. So could this line need to be adjusted down to hold these? Maybe, but how long do you keep adjusting your line down, right? You could just keep adjusting it forever, really, until, I get my established points. I want to hold true to it. And you can see we didn't really start printing under the white until we broke this first trend line, right? There's no candles, these little ones right here, no candles opening and closing under the white line until we broke our trend line. And that trend line was established all the way back here. 1, 2. See what I'm saying? So
Yes.
here to here, that's when that trend was established. Then this next trend from here to here, this trend was established. No candles printed underneath of the EMA. We got candles to start printing under the EMA. We broke our trend. We got our break and retest. That lets us know we're not in this straight bullish skyrocket like we were. Okay, we moved sideways. We retested the longer. Now it looks like we may have formed a top, but again, we're testing the RSI. Now we're almost in the same position as we were last week, where we're looking at the wedge, but basically from this low and this high, connecting the lows, connecting the highs. That's our new wedge, essentially. Are we going to hold this and remain bullish and have support, break, retest, and support, and continue up and retest our highs? Right? Or are we going to break, retest, and look at that? We just filled the Thor long call. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's insane.
So this is why my trend lines, and this is where you cut off for a moment. So looking short term, whether I'm going to close my position as a whole or whether I'm going to continue and look for take profit 2 and take profit 3, right? I'm going to use a trend line. Even though it's short term, I'm just looking at it for here. I'm not looking, is this going to tell me is the whole market going up and down, right? So you can look at it like this.
Gives you a view it gives you a blueprint for your trade, for you to manage your trade.
Right. So you have your overall market sentiment, right? This is why your overall market sentiment can be going bullish and Thor calls a short. Just like right now, I think our overall market sentiment is about to go. We have our break and retest. I think we're about to go bearish. And Thor is making a long call.
Well, you went over ETH, and well, basically we're bearish, and there's a long once it goes down. What are your thoughts on BTC, which is basically who moves the market basically?
I haven't looked at. This is where I left off with Bitcoin. You can see we had lost this last pump, this real fast pump and trend. So I can kind of just get rid of that. We have resistance. Now we have a break. And is this the retest of this shorter term resistance? And are we going to find that, because we are the shorter term, or are we looking at this longer term where, yes, we kind of broke back in, but we didn't make the higher high. Right? So we've still essentially got our high, low, lower high, lower low, lower high. Now we'll see if we continue to the lower low, or do we find support here making the higher low and then possibly a higher high.
Yeah,
resistance and looking now for the lower low and the retest of the longer term EMA.
I set my
Which
limit.
makes sense to me because if you look right here, we blew through these candles
Mhm.
and we did come back and refill most of it, but haven't quite refilled all of it, and we haven't retested the long-term EMA. So wouldn't surprise me. And from here, we could then from here we could easily then have our break and retest potentially.
Yeah, that's basically the Thor long
Or
for the 4 hour.
is it okay?
Yep.
What's it calling for down here at 40?
It has 3 longs. It has a long in 39 to 38, 870. 38 to 37 is another one.
Okay,
And then-
so just knowing it has several, without me even looking at the numbers, this is what it tells me price action's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thor is going to have a long call. Now, these aren't the exact numbers. This is generalization. Thor is going to have a long call. Thor is going to have a long call. Thor is going to have a long call. It's going to be like that. And then we'll find out. We'll have some more calls by then, I'm sure. But then we'll see if we get a higher low, higher high, break, and retest.
It's looking like we're short-term bearish.
Short-term bearish, but I mean, again, oh, look at that. Here we go. Look at that. So we still have this long-term bullish, and we still have this long-term bullish, right? So we're still.
Mode, I have dry powder, so we want bearish. Call bearish. Call bearish.
Exactly. That's what I need you to say. It's going down, man. Come on.
Yeah, I think we could come down. Look, retest this top, retest this top. We blew through these candles, right? So there's that same thing. You know, if you've been on the streams long enough, you see me call these zones out. You see how we blew right through here with no testing. We're
Like
going to retest that zone.
That's the typical like liquidity void ICT
Right.
calls or whatever.
Right? And that blew us out of the people that were in this zone, right? If you missed your entry, now you're FOMOing in.
Mm-hmm.
And now
This
we
run
can
has felt
go back.
really FOMO-y.
So we could retest. Look at that. Wow. If we come right down here to where the zone meets the line, what 31,000 exactly? Come the fuck on.
That's the long, dude. That's the long that Thor has. Holy
Really?
shit.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. See, now you see why
I knew it, bro.
Thor's insane.
when my TA lines up with Thor, I'm like, okay, now I see why the market may do this. I see what the market.
Confluence on confluence, right? Yeah.
There you go. There you go.
Can we do this like all the days of the week, please?
What I am gonna do, it's hard for me, like this is my busiest time of year, IRL. So it's hard for me to really schedule much more. What I am gonna do is I'm going to, when I'm looking at charts during the day and in the evenings and shit, I'm just gonna start jumping in here and doing a stream for whoever wants to just look at charts. It's gonna be, you know, just kind of like this one was, more of just a bullshit session and looking at charts than me really having a plan laid out and review, if that makes sense. Because
Yes, please. Thank you.
Plan your trade.
and
trade
they're
your
going to be
plan.
random, so there'll be random mornings, random evenings. Like
I was gonna say that's dope because I know, like, you know, Marcel, he'd love to be here, but obviously can't can't do it when in Germany
I
it's
gotta
like
catch
1
I gotta
a.m.
catch up with that fucker. Such
Count
a
me
Yeah.
in. Count me in every single time, bro. If I see you
Whoa,
here,
whoa,
I'm
that is
coming in.
I'm also in Germany. It's a question.
No,
of
yeah,
distance,
no,
man.
this dude goes to bed at like fucking 9, like a Meemaw. So
Yeah, okay.
he just misses this.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm shift worker, so it's kind of possible to be here. Yeah, for me. Yeah.
So what I want to wrap this stream up with is Young, I hope you're still listening and around. You were talking about some of
Yeah,
the
I'm here.
the different oh shit, this isn't the right one. Let me find the file. You were talking about discipline and things like that. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about and bring up is the trading journal. And I have it. Thought I had more than just this one slide. I'm going to bring up. I thought I had more than just this one slide, but this is right fucking now. So here we go. A trading log and a trading journal are not the same. A trading log, you are saying, I entered Solana at $75, short, looking to take profit at $70, and, did you make profit? What was your P&L on that trade, right? That's a trading log. A trading journal is more about you than your numbers. It is, why did you take that short call? Was it because you heard a guy on Twitter say they were going to go short? Was it because you saw on Trader Tuesday it was going to go short? Was it because a Thor call said go short? Was it just because you just had a fucking feeling looking at whatever that I need to go short now? This could be the top of the market, right? Why did you go long? Because Thor said this is the bottom of the market. Because everyone was bearish, I was going bullish. What was your reason, right? And then what were you feeling? What were you thinking? And then how did that call turn out? And you'll start to notice things like if you're trying to make money real quick before you got to go somewhere in a couple hours and you're just trying to get some money real quick. And you notice you're making these bad calls. Or you notice, man, every time this guy on Twitter says it's the top and I follow a call, I end up getting burned. Or he says it's a bottom, I get burned. Every time I'm like, I think this kind of stuff. Yeah, I think I'm going to take this call, but I'm unsure. It doesn't work out. If you notice when you were fully convicted, it was a good call. These are the things that you help identify as personal indicators besides just what you see on the chart. And you may determine and find things out about yourself. You may identify that you FOMO, even though you don't think you do. You may find out that the reason you FOMO, where is it that the market makers seem to trap you? Or where is it that you seem to be able to take advantage of the market makers? And Young, just the way you were talking about, you FOMO'd in and you went long and you didn't manage your risk. You didn't set a proper stop loss. Well, why? What was it you were thinking? And I'm not meaning to pick on you. This is for anybody.
No.
Yeah.
So I actually, and I mean, they say lightning doesn't strike twice, right?
It doesn't trading every day.
So, dude, I did the exact same shit that I did with Soul with with another asset. No,
See?
and yo, it's funny, but like I personally know that, like, for one, I have no control over the market. So for me, I think it has a lot more to do with revenge trades and
Dude, that is
thinking that I can scalp,
yep.
thinking I can scalp my way, and then I get for the second time I got trapped. Of course, I didn't set any stop loss,
And let me
because
guess, you wanted to
because
go
everything's
long,
gonna go
and you
my
got
way.
trapped. Then you got trapped going short, then long again, then short real quick, and then yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so both instances, both instances I got liquidated, and I got trapped on a long on both times. So me personally, I feel even more so that, from what TA we've seen, you chart out, we're definitely on, some type of retest slash like slow sideways movement or decline. The trend has
Let
ended.
me say this too, and that this'll probably help you. This will help you manage your risk better and get better entries. Is remember, you want to enter long on support and exit or start a short on resistance, right? If you set your entry right on that support, set your stop loss just below it, because if you lose that support, that's an indication that you're going short, right? Now, if you lose that support and it now, because you starts going short, say, wait for that retest. And if you get the retest, now you can go short. But you don't want to get you want to make sure you enter on support, set your stop loss below support. Go short at that resistance, set your stop loss just above that resistance. Right? And you're gonna sometimes get stopped out and then the markets go the direction the way you want. It happens. But that's why you manage risk. And if you manage your risk properly, it accounts for that. That does happen. Okay, you lost a little bit, but you didn't lose a lot. And maybe just like that, now I got to pull it up. Just like I told you on that 4-hour call on Solana. Give me 1 second to pull this back up. So just like this 4-hour short on Solana, why is this? Okay, there we go. I went in on this first entry and it went in profit. So once it moved in profit, I set my stop loss above the last high, right at my entry, basically. Right? I got stopped out, came down, and then once it re-entered and now it's failing to make a higher high, this is where I made my entry back in the zone and wrote it down short. It's okay that I got stopped out and re-entered. That's risk management. I wasn't willing to let it keep going because what if it kept going? It's okay to get stopped out. But if you enter on support or resistance, or a Thor call in this case, if you enter on support and set your stop loss just below where your entry or that last support, right? You're managing your risk. If you're going short, like now that we have this established, go short on resistance and then set your stop loss just above that resistance. And if you do that, you buy on support of the EMA, buy on support. You know, if you buy on support here and set your stop loss, well, you were in profit. You could take profit or move stop loss to 0. But look how minimal your stop loss would have been, right? But if you're down, you know, it hit support and now it's up here and you're chasing it long, or now that you've lost this and you're chasing the short, no, you want the break or the retest. You know, the break was here. You get rid of this, make it easier to see. The break was right here. So if you didn't get in here short, you go for the retest. You don't chase down here, especially because look at that perfect support from our last high. Look how that basically became perfect support right here. Right? And right now, looks like we could be trying to make a push. Let's go break it down shorter, see what we got. So in the shorter time frame, we still have the short-term EMA above the long-term, but we found resistance, and right now we're really trying again to see if we hold this. If we hold the, don't go higher, we make a lower high. I see the lower low income, but that's why it's good to break down to a short time frame sometimes, just to get a little bit closer look. So this candle will complete in 30 minutes. This candle will complete in an hour and 30 minutes. So this one may show green, close green, and the 1 hour have started printing red to let you know we've met resistance. But if you want to go short, like I said, you go on the break or the retest, not chasing it down here. Just like if you want to go long, you do it on support. You know, you could have gone long and then set your stop loss below that support, right? I know I'm making it sound easier than it is, but
No, but you're making it makes complete sense, and both a principle in which I didn't incorporate at all. I mean, no stop loss. Like, come on.
yeah,
I was chasing waterfalls, yo.
yeah, you're gambling at that point, man.
Yeah, yeah. Something I'm not advertising or advocating at all. I'm just identifying, my hubris.
Dude,
And
identifying what you do wrong helps you do things right. That's
and I take it as a learning lesson.
That journal that was talking about, it helps.
Yeah, definitely going to be writing more. And I was actually looking at the journal a few days ago, like, let me just jot this down, and then probably, yeah, definitely good. Good.
It's hard to remember, After like a month, you look back and you're like, "Oh yeah, I do see that and that and that," and like,
yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna do a short. I'm gonna do a stop loss right here on this one. It helps a lot.
Yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me if we move in this zone here for a little bit, honestly.
Mode, I need you to say it's going down, not up, man. Come on, man. What is this?
Well, it wouldn't surprise me if we go up and test 80 again, and we drop back down here to 70, and then
that would all be very, very strictly directed to directly correlated with what Bitcoin does next, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
And you see Bitcoin's kind of been moving sideways as well.
You're at a pivotal point. Well, not super pivotal, but like it breaks either way. It's going like if Bitcoin breaks down, then yeah, we'll move it down.
If Bitcoin breaks down, we're coming down at least to 38.
Coming down swinging, boy.
If we lose 35, we're coming down to 31.
Yeah, I need 31K Bitcoin, please. Thank you.
I already put my kidneys on sale right now.
Just
They
like I
buy them on eBay.
I still think we are either going to. I think we might find this as our support zone, honestly.
I was gonna ask you, Mode, if that long term trend is still supported. I remember you had said like $30, like we could hit $30 and still be supported by that long term trend. Is that still the case? Looks like it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like this may be the next kind of real entry zone, though. Get off.
God, $30 Solana. I'm broke if that happens. Let's go.
I'm broke because I'm deploying all the dry.
That's what I mean.
powder.
I have nothing left if it's $30.
I'm going all in, bro.
So
that's the thing.
yeah.
Like, if we are talking like this, like, there's multiple individuals out there that are talking like that. So
100%.
it might not even go there because of that.
Exactly.
Well, that's why I think maybe instead of breaking into this zone where we do get that 32 to 29, that may become the kind of the resistance, therefore, or I'm sorry, the support. And we may come down. It wouldn't surprise me either if we see it get close to 32, 33, and that's the low. You know, if we
Dude,
come,
I'll take 35. I'll take 39.
and instead of refilling this zone become the support. So a golden zone could be 37 to 32.
What is Thor saying on like the daily?
Which is, look at that, 50%. Surprise. Right now, there are no daily calls for Solana on the daily. So Thor only makes the call when there's the call.
As they go?
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't always have a call. Right now, there's a 15-minute, the 1 hour, and the 4 hour.
And the 4 hours is basically longs.
Yep.
And the short that we're basically active on, where it's invalidated.
Say again?
And we have a short that we're actually active on, or it's invalidated.
No, I don't think there is an active short. The last short's already hit take profit. Probably take profit 2 and take profit 3.
So it's a goner.
Yep. So yeah, it hit take profit 2 and it hit take profit 3, I'm sure, without going to actually look at it.
So in terms of like Thor calls, we're in a no man's land right now in the 4 hour and daily.
Right. Right now,
we're in the fuck around and find out. We're gonna find, we're gonna see.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what Thor is saying. Are we gonna find this as resistance? You know, are we going to find resistance? And then again, we're gonna, if we come down and retest the long-term EMA, we're going to retest the short-term EMA. Bam, bam. So entry, take profit. If we break down, we're going to retest the long-term EMA again. Bam, bam, take profit. Because it's not saying where it's going to go from there. It's saying with the information it has up to where it's sitting right now, which, again, surprise, surprise, we're, what, 8 to 9% down and close to 7% up to the top, almost right in the middle, right? Like, how often is it that when we look at charts, we're at a 50-50 zone? They do that intentionally try to always make you feel like it's 50-50. Could go long, could go short. So that's why you try to put as many indicators together as you can, as much TA together as you can. And when you get several that match, you know, when I see if we do lose support, right now we're holding support on the short-term EMA. We're holding support on the RSI. But we did lose support of that longer term. But in the shorter term, we can look at that as a bullish trend. If that is the bottom, we could even look at that as a bullish trend. But again, look how short and teeny those lines are in the grand scheme of this line that it's breaking, right? And you can see the white line and blue, how far apart they were and how they were pointing up at 45 degrees. Now they're starting to flatten out. It's obvious the trend is starting to change. Doesn't mean it's going to go down. It may keep going flat and then turn back up. We'll have to wait and see. And I do agree with you that watching Bitcoin and seeing if we find support here, and if we break up, that will probably.
That was actually one question I was gonna ask that I forgot. Was using Bitcoin as an indicator itself. I don't know. I just, because obviously they all follow their own like individualized price action, but the patterns anyway. And of course, you know, this is my first 3 months trading, and that was one highlight that I kind of noticed that I was never aware of. Like smaller altcoins have like a similar pattern.
Right. Yeah.
It's like the adoption curves. Is that what you're talking about? And like price, like you can see like Sol follow kind of like ETH, and but they are separate.
A lot. You see Bitcoin blow up, and then you see money from Bitcoin flow into ETH, and then from ETH you see it flow into the higher layer ones. And you know, there's narrative. Sometimes you'll see it'll be like a layer 1 narrative, or sometimes it's a layer 2 narrative. Sometimes it's a Chinese coin narrative that you'll see pop. You know, you can definitely follow different narratives when you know what to look for. But when all that gets complicated, look at Thor. Just, you know, instead of overcomplicating, save yourself some time sometimes and look at Thor. Another thing to note too is if you see here, but blow up the RSI, you see we did get to a spot where we did get past that, what I call red line, and need to cool off a little bit. And it did coincide with what was the local top. Now, is this going to become a, you know, a W bottom and an uptrend in momentum? We'll see. Or are we still kind of in downtrend, right?
Yeah, I like maybe I'm being a little bit contrarian, but like all that's is like the RSI, if it got oversold, it's super nice. Like if you catch some cool bottoms, but like if Bitcoin just decides to puke right now, I don't know, I might be wrong, but like I feel like all of these are gonna just shit the bed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
think
if Bitcoin shits the bed hard enough, alts bleed.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Bitcoin
is Mac Daddy, you know, like it is of crypto, not necessarily in dominant, you know, well, it is in dominance, but it's the first big, most adopted one, you know.
20% to retest, right? What do we say on ETH? What was ETH down to the long call and this zone here? Wow, I didn't even line it up, but
like 20% to 25 maybe.
And look where, oh shit. Grab the wrong part of it. Look where it goes to. Right where that gap is. Right where we saw they jump liquidity again.
It's such a coincidence, right?
Oh yeah, it's such a coincidence that this is also 20%. Huh. You know?
Sometimes it rhymes. Sometimes it rhymes.
Right? Let's see, what are we down to this 4 hour here? 20% down to the 4 hour long on Sol too, huh? Wow. Coincidence.
Most of the times of those movements, like on the majors, are very alike. But like on smaller alts like Sol, I would expect.
Sol isn't moving like a smaller alt though. That's what's crazy.
Not anymore right now since it's ripped from $8. It's been leading the market and not dropping like as hard. But yes, I agree with you most do.
I've watched Lana hard for a long time, and it is operating differently.
It's showing strength. It's showing insane strength.
It's
different. Oh yeah. But what I'm saying is, if Bitcoin goes -20, like it drops 20%, ETH usually drops 25.
Well, yeah.
Of course, this is all statistic, right? It could go less, could go more, but usually that's what it does. And then Sol, AVAX, all of these. I mean, I know Sol is bigger, but still, they're probably going to drop 28, maybe
100%. Yeah, that's how it's been. Yeah.
I mean, this is interesting though that we are finding the support on the RSI. We're finding the support on the EMA. I mean, we're getting ready to test whether that was the high or whether this is a higher low. Because, I mean, technically it's a higher low here. If this is a low, lower high, higher low. But do we go get the higher high, or are we meeting resistance? And
we're gonna find out.
So right now, if it fails to break out to the upside, it will most probably give us a lower low, and it's basically not confirming, but giving us an indication that we're entering a bear trend.
Yeah, it'll solidify the lower high.
It wouldn't solidify like
it's indicating. Yeah.
Indicating.
Yeah, and if
the retest would be the confirmation.
And if we do get the lower low, right, then that pretty much means we're probably entering the long. If we get the lower low coming up, that's probably near entry at this long zone. And, yeah. So,
this was a banging ass session.
Yeah, it's probably like one of the best ones. Seriously.
I think it's one of our longer ones too.
Dude, I have so much stuff that I want to talk with all of you guys with Moat, but I know it's not the call.
Every Tuesday we're gonna be here. Now apparently he's gonna do more. Like, I'm gonna be here.
Speak your mind.
Yeah, man. These, like I said, this isn't like, oh, let's come to Tuesday class. Like, yeah, I hope everyone learned something, and I like to put things together that I think are important, and all those reviews, and every first Tuesday of the month is a Trader Tuesday 101. It's back to the basics. We don't go too crazy on charts. At the end we'll talk about it, but it's over the basics. The rest of them, yeah, I love talking about all this kind of shit. Like, this is what we're here.
Mo's my favorite teacher because he lets me bring my bong to class.
While he's ripping it.
What the hell?
Don't forget to share with the teacher. Anyway.
I love this guy. Oh my god.
So yeah, I'm gonna wrap up. It's been almost 3 hours. But yeah, this has been fucking awesome, and I encourage the engagement, the questions, and it makes it more fun for me too. So I'm all about it.
Appreciate you, Mode, as always. Frogs fuck.
Yeah, appreciate it. Oh, let me check the chat.
I appreciate you, man.
Good Mode. I have a lot of stuff to show you, but you're the teacher, and I think that's better suited for the you said the bullshit, like anytime sessions. I'll show you on those sessions. I want to
Looking
pick your
forward to it, dude.
your wrinkly brain.
I'm looking forward to it, man. For real, I do enjoy doing these Trader Tuesday sessions, just hanging out with Frog Fam and shit. So,
It keeps you on your toes.
what's that?
It also keeps you on your toes.
Fucking right. I will get the write up from this session. The chart looks fucking crazy with all these lines. I'll clean it up a little bit, and I will give a recap about what we talked about tonight, and we'll know by then whether, we'll know probably within the next 8 hours, 2 candle prints, whether we're gonna find resistance here or not, and look for us to either test that last high or look for us to break down and enter these longs. The fact that we have the longs stacked up wouldn't surprise me if we break down, and like Alpha said, as well as others, Bitcoin breaking down is an indication that Sol could follow. So,
That's
thank
so
you,
beautiful
guys.
to hear.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Frogs fuck. The trend is your friend until the end, and it looks like it could be coming to an end. We have some indicators that this crazy pump from $20 up to $80 may be slowing down, taking a slight turn. So we shall find out. Appreciate the fuck out all y'all, and look for the update in Trader Tuesday tomorrow.
No doubt.
Thank you
Love
for
you.
all you guys do.